Good afternoon, early evening, everybody. Today is Friday, October 17th, 2025. It is 4:18 p.m. How y'all doing? I'm exhausted. My husband and I and the person that we're staying with just spent the entire day deep cleaning her house. Her house, the house, call it what you want it. Everybody's living here at the moment, so it's the house, but she can sit there and say it's solely her house after we're gone. Um, oh my gosh, like, dude, I want to wring this skinny little girl's chicken neck. Seriously, want to wring this bitch's neck. Okay, so what happened today. Okay, my husband had to work today. It's Friday. He had to work today. So he went to work from like 6 in the morning till about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, give or take. While he was gone, and I got up, got my coffee, had my breakfast, gave Kaylee her medication, and moved her to the bedroom. So I'm sitting at the table, I'm eating my breakfast and drinking my coffee, and the friend that we're staying with comes out of her room and she heats up her coffee because she got up before I did, had her coffee and her morning medications and maybe some breakfast, I'm not quite sure. And then she went back to bed. And so when I got up and made my coffee and my breakfast and I sat down and, did what I needed to do as far as getting Kaylee medicated and moving her, and then I'm eating my breakfast, then she comes out and makes herself something more to drink. And then we start talking about, I had mentioned, I want to go ahead and get the house cleaned so that we don't really have much to do tomorrow and Sunday, which leaves my husband and I more time to go out and do roadie runs. And I had mentioned, like, I wanted to deep clean the house. Like, I wanted to move the chairs, like the chair that she sits in the living room and the wingback chair that I sit in out onto the porch. I wanted to move the kitchen table and those chairs out onto the porch. I wanted to move the bar stools out to the porch. I wanted to move the end tables out to the porch. I wanted to roll up the rug and bring that outside because I wanted to like move the couch out and sweep and mop underneath and behind it and mop the entire living room, dining room, kitchen, all that good jazz. That never happened, but what did happen, mind you, is okay. So she goes to get dressed. Whenever I deep clean, like whenever I do a major clean in the house, I will clean in my pajamas. The only difference is I will put my socks and my tennis shoes on. So I go over to the wingback chair where I normally sit. I also keep my shoes and socks stored underneath it. A, they're out of the way. B, they're easy for me to find, access, and put on when I need them. So I go and I put my socks and shoes on. And I go over to the sink and I put away the clean dishes that were in the drainer and I wash all of the breakfast dishes. So, plus whatever dishes, because last night Kaylee made herself one of those Knorr broccoli cheddar pasta sides for supper, and then Willie had the rest of the rotisserie chicken or pork chop or something of that nature, and then the friend and I had one of those Stouffer's enchilada bakes last night, because literally it's one tray is 4 servings, so literally she and I had one enchilada each for dinner, and then the rest of it got saved for lunch this afternoon. So I put away all the clean all the clean dishes. I washed all the dirty dishes. So all of the breakfast dishes from this morning, plus whatever my daughter left in the sink, I washed all of that. As I'm washing all the dishes, she comes out of the bedroom. And for the first time since maybe about a month or so after we moved in, as I'm washing the dishes, she's helping me dry. So those get done, those get put away. Then I go to the cleaning closet, which is this little closet that's literally behind the dining room table where we sit. And I pull out the mop bucket. Just the mop bucket. That's all I pulled out. And I fill the mop bucket with hot water and lavender scented Pine Sol. I then proceed to take, so she's got a built-in like shelving storage unit underneath her kitchen window, which because I'm sitting in the car, if you look and you see the pampas grass, that window right there, that's the kitchen window. So that built-in shelving unit is right under that window. So I go ahead and I get this mop bucket ready. I grab a microfiber cloth out of the cleaning closet. I put it in this hot Pine Sol-y soapy water. And I plug in my phone. I turn my phone onto Pandora because we always clean to music. It just keeps the momentum going, and it keeps us from like getting bored and lost in our own thoughts. And ew, that's disgusting. So I get the music going. I plug my phone in. And I start breaking down that storage shelf unit. So on the very top, all that was there was literally my phone, which I didn't worry too much about. But I pulled off she has a canister that it's literally that all that's in there is just powdered cappuccino mix. Just pulled that off. Made sure the Keurig was unplugged, and I pulled the Keurig off. I then take the rag that's sitting in this hot solution of hot water and lavender scented Pine Sol, and I squeeze out the rag so it's not dripping, but it's just damp with the solution. And I wipe off and deep clean the shelf where all that stuff sat. And then before I put anything back on the shelf, I also deep clean it. Like I wipe it down, get all the dust and all the crap off of it. Then I put it back. I also fill the water chamber of the Keurig and attach that so that tomorrow when we go to have coffee, all's good. We don't got to fill up the water thing. It's all good. Then I proceed down to the shelf underneath it. Now on this shelf, the friend keeps all of the stoneware that she and her ex-husband were gifted for their wedding. Why is she choosing to keep the stoneware out on display when it was a wedding gift for you and your ex-husband? I don't know. I don't care. Point is that she's keeping it. So I pull, not only does she have all of the stoneware on there, that's also where she keeps the canister that has the coffee that we use every morning. She has a canister of, I think one of them is supposed to be rice, like uncooked rice. And the other is, I believe, I looked at it today, it looks like it's granulated sugar. I don't know if the sugar is still any good because I don't know how long it's been in that canister, but regardless, there it is. I also pulled all the stoneware pieces off. I pulled all the canisters off. I also pulled on that shelf, she had a crystal dish that she said her mom gave her because it was her aunt's that passed away, and an old-timey clock. Now, this clock she used to have in the bedroom where Willie and I are sleeping. But when the one day that we did deep clean that room, we moved the clock out into under the window because I didn't want to run the risk of it getting knocked over and broken because it's already missing a foot on it. And that was like that before we moved in. So she said, well, we'll just go put it here. So I did, and that's where it's been sitting. Also on this shelf, she has two candles, three candles. Two of them were housewarming gifts from friends of hers, and then one of them was a gift from her daughter when she lived in her old house. So I pull all of that stuff off, and there was also like a little teacup and saucer that used to be a candle. We already burnt that, we burnt that candle down to bits, and I actually boiled all the remaining wax out of it and got the wick out of it, and I just cleaned it. So now she just has this little knickknack on her shelf that she got from her mom. So I pulled all the stuff off. I did the whole thing. I Lysoled the shelf, got all the dust and crap off the shelf, and I washed all of the stoneware dish pieces. I washed them. Took them over to the sink piece by piece and washed them with hot water, Dawn dish soap, and a gentle rag. Rinsed them, hand dried them, and put them back. Now, anything that wasn't like stoneware or the aunt's crystal dish, all I did was I took that Lysol rag and I wiped it down and then dried it off. And then I put all that stuff back. So literally the shelving unit under her window got a good deep clean. I also, whilst I was in the midst of that, okay, underneath where I had the bucket sitting is where we typically put all of the dirty dishes once they're dirty and we know we need to wash them. So she has like this non-slick mat, almost like people use them, they drawer like a drawer liner or a cabinet liner. I took that off and I wiped down that counter, and we replaced the paper towel that was sitting under there, and we put the liner back, and I put the mop bucket there. So then, like I said, I get all of her stoneware and all of her knickknacks and all of the little stuff on her shelf clean. Get the shelf clean. That's all clean. And then I wipe down the table, the kitchen table. I wipe the table down with the hot Lysol solution. And then I move all of the stuff off of the kitchen island. On the kitchen island, she has it's a piece of glass that was at one point the top to part of, I guess, it's like a 3-piece table set that if you put them all 3 together, they create a coffee table, but if you separate them into individual pieces, they become end tables. I don't know. So she has that. She has two baskets. One basket, she has 2 different things of Tylenol, 2 different strengths of Tylenol, her mail opener, and her nerve tonic. And then the other basket, she has all of her daily supplements, like her elderberry, her hair, skin, and nails, her D3s, her B12, her turmeric, all that jazz that she takes all day long. So then And then she also has the salt and pepper shakers and the butter dish sitting there. So I pull all that off. I put all of that on the kitchen table. I wash in the kitchen sink. I wash the glass piece, and I set that in the drainer to dry while I take the hot Lysol rag and I wipe down and deep clean the counter, because Kaylee sits there and eats dinner and breakfast and lunch. Anytime she eats something, she sits at that counter and on one of the bar stools and eats. So I wipe that down, get everything put back on that nice and neat, and it's all clean. Okay. Then while I'm doing all that, for whatever reason, she pulls all the stuff off of the end tables in the living room, the side tables or the end tables in the living room, and then goes in her room and proceeds to strip her bed and change her sheets and get her sheets in the washer. So I go into the living room. At this point, my husband's just getting home from work. So I go into the living room. I take the duster. Oh, at this point, before I'd even pulled all the stuff off the bar, she went under the sink or in the cleaning closet and she grabbed a thing of Pledge, like a Pledge multi-surface spray, the Endust, the Lysol wipes, and the foaming carpet stain remover, because for whatever reason, our kitten will sometimes mark the carpet. So she pulls all that out, puts it on the counter. I move it from the counter to the top of the fridge, because I'm getting ready to tear this counter apart so I can deep clean it, and I did. And then I put all that stuff back. Then, like I said, at this point, my husband's home. So she's already got all the end tables torn apart. So I dust off all of the end tables and dust up all the stuff and put the stuff back, with the exception of the fan the oscillating fan. And Kaylee is like, why is my fan on the floor? First of all, it's not your fan. You didn't pay for it. Second of all, it's on the floor because we were cleaning the house today. Then we get all that, I get all that stuff dusted, I get all that stuff put back. Then we decide, we move the drainer out of the sink, because she's got one of those sinks where it's just a basin. It's one large basin. So we move the drainer out of the sink and bring my husband the trash can, because it's all of a sudden gonna become litter box day. Mine as well, right? We're deep cleaning the house. So I bring my husband the litter boxes. There's one by right when you walk in the front door by the cat tree. There's one in the hallway right outside mine and Willie's room, and there are two in the bathroom. So I bring him, we always start with the litter box closest to the cat tree. Bring him that. He empties that out. He has the scoop to get anything that's stuck to the bottom of the box. And then I'm given the litter box itself to take to the sink, and I deep clean it, which means I take some Pine Sol and some Dawn dish soap and hot water, and I scrub the hell out of it, making sure there's no litter chunks, no dirt, no nasty. Completely clean it. These cats, and we did that for all 4 litter boxes and the tray underneath the one in the bathroom. So these cats have completely cleaned, disinfected, sanitized litter boxes with fresh litter. Okay? We get that done. I then, because I just used the kitchen sink to deep clean nasty litter boxes, I deep clean the sink. I just kind of squirt Dawn dish soap all over the sink. and I go hard hog heaven with hot ass water on the sink. And I get the sink all cleaned. And I pounded the drain, like the drain stopper, into the trash can. I scrubbed that to bits to get that all clean and free of nasties and get that all clean. And then we have lunch. Like, she and I and my husband have lunch. Like, she and I have the leftover, the other 2 enchiladas from last night, and my husband, I believe, had the he had the 3 remaining breakfast Hot Pockets for lunch. So then we get that done. And then we proceed to get the my husband, actually, so after I do all the surfacing, before we did the litter box, we had lunch, and then we did the litter boxes. And while he's doing that and I'm washing them, she's the friend. She is cleaning the floors where the litter boxes set in the hallway and the bathroom. She's half-assing it, mind you. Okay? She's half-assing it. Okay? She went to the drawer, grabbed a white, like, scraper, and barely touched the surface where whatever needed to be scraped up was. And then complaining that her vacuums aren't working the way they're needing to. Well, your vacuums aren't working the way they're needing to because you probably don't have proper attachments on, and you're not using them correctly. So that's why your vacuums aren't working the way you need them to. So then we get all that done. We get the litter boxes put back. Then she takes, it's a flat mop. And my husband puts the removable head on this flat mop for her. And she barely sprays. First of all, my husband takes at this point, my husband has had me move the trash can closer to the house because that garbage can is heavy as fuck. I take it while I do that, I bring out the one box of litter that was empty that we used in its entirety. It's completely empty. So I threw that away. He brings out the trash can. I did that because the trash can when he brought it out, he tied the bag off, but he just opened up the lid and hefted the thing over to dump out the bag because the bag was heavy. It was heavy with all the nasty litter and stuff. Brings the trash can back in. I put a new bag in it. I put it back where that goes. All the while, the friend's got this flat mop, and granted, she only has the use of one arm, so she's doing her flat mopping. And then wants me to put a pad on her Swiffer mop, her Swiffer wet mop. Not a Swiffer wet jet, just a Swiffer wet mop. So I put the pad on, and she's using that, but she's not even really doing it properly. Like, I could have done a better, more efficient job on the hallway and the bathroom and the kitchen and dining room floors if I would have just used the mop that I cleaned, the mop water that I cleaned everything else with, and just had my husband attach a head to the mop, because we got her one of those. We convinced her to get one of those O-Cedar spin mop kits, with the bucket and the mop. Because she had told us a while when we first got here, not that long after we got here, that, it's been a hot minute since her floors had a good deep mopping. And I said, well, do you have an actual mop? I'll mop your floors for you. She goes, no, but I can get one at Walmart. I said, okay. So she bought an O-Cedar spin mop kit. And that's what we use to mop her floors. It has two removable, washable, reusable heads. and then the bucket. But like I said, the bucket today, I just filled it with Pine Sol and took a rag and was using the rag to wipe everything down really good. The one thing I didn't do, and I wanted to and I should have, but I forgot, was I wanted to take some I want to say that it is called Barkeeper's Friend for the glass stovetop. I wanted to take that to the stovetop and get the stovetop clean really good, but we've got hamburger meat and a baguette sitting there on the stovetop thawing for spaghetti right now. So I wasn't going to worry about that. I still have to figure out how I'm going to clean the power strip where she got chocolate cake in a couple of the outlets. But I'll figure that out. So anyway, so she literally has the audacity to say, after my husband and I and she, after the three of us finish deep cleaning, and let's negate the fact that while I was in the bathroom this morning, I also took, because the toilet looked nasty as hell, I took one of her Clorox toilet wand heads and I got really good, got the inside of the toilet and underneath the lip of the bowl. And I also took, she has, it's basically, it's diluted Fabuloso in an old, like, Windex spray bottle. And I sprayed the lid, the underside of the lid of the toilet seat, the top of the toilet seat itself, the underside of the toilet seat, and the top of the bowl. Took a paper towel and I deep cleaned it. Looks like, and I told her, I said the toilet was nasty. So I said, I just went ahead and I just took care of that. And initially she was like, oh good, that's one less thing tomorrow. And I was like, tomorrow? No. I've got this bug up my butt. We're getting this done today. Because honestly, the less I have to see you during the day, the better. So anyway, she up and says at some point, looks at me, looks at my husband, and she says, I'm going to have to pay somebody to come in and deep clean my house. And I said, what are you talking about? We just deep cleaned your house. She said, well, I need them to, like, scrape the floors and get, like, the baseboards really good. And I looked, I said, Liz, we just did that. Like, you just scraped the floors. We just did the baseboards. Granted, I didn't, like I wanted to, I didn't do, like, the windowsills where the cats like to sit. I didn't do that. And we didn't deep clean the bathroom. I mean, yeah, she went and she, like, vacuumed and bleached the floor under the litter boxes while the litter boxes were being cleaned and changed. But I didn't go in, I didn't break apart the bathroom and, like we did the one day. I didn't do that. But the bulk, like the main, what everybody sees when they walk in the door, like the living room, the kitchen, the dining room area, all of that got deep cleaned today. Like I said in previous videos, she thinks that dusting, like, she was like, well, I didn't, when I go to dust, like, her entertainment center and all of her knickknacks and stuff on her entertainment center, oh, I didn't know we were doing a deep clean today. Like, why would you vacuum the floor but not dust the furniture? Ergo, putting dust onto the floor so that when you vacuum it, the dust gets picked up. Common sense. So, but, like, I texted my husband, I said, I'm seriously offended at that statement. At her comment of, oh, I'm going to have to hire somebody to come in and deep clean the house after you guys leave. Like we're slobs. I'm sorry. Be lucky that I'm not saying this to your freaking face, because you can't clean for crap. You cannot clean for crap. Your little poor ass attempt at mopping the floor with a flat mop and a spray bottle. Be lucky that it's me cleaning your house and not my stepmother, because my stepmother would not hold back. She would tell you like it is. She would have done what I wanted to do today. She would have brought outside, out of your house, all the chairs where everybody sits in the living room and at the bar and the kitchen table and the kitchen chairs, and pulled the couch away from the rug or wall and pulled up the rug and gotten under the floors really good, swept and mopped under all the furniture. She would have pulled everything off of your counters and scrubbed your counters. Would have pulled everything out of your refrigerator, pulled your refrigerator apart, shelf by shelf, which I've done in the past, by the way. There have been times where we've pulled the refrigerator apart. She would have the state of the cabinet where all of the food gets kept, would have pulled that apart, cleaned inside of there, made sure all of the stuff was wiped down, and then put it back neatly. She would have the pantry. She would have pulled the pantry apart, wiped down all the shelves, wiped down all of the food, put everything back in neatly and organized. Like, granted, your house, we're not slobbingly, and your house is not a hovel, but it's not clean by my stepmother's standards. And for you to make the type of comment that you made after we spent damn near 2.5, almost 3 hours cleaning, bitch, be lucky. You sit there and you talk about how, well, my mom doesn't like when people come, help her, and when they do help her, if they move something and she doesn't like where they've put it, she gets pissed off. And I'm like, be lucky that we're helping you maintain the house. She's had people over and they've commented how they can't believe how clean the house is with 4 people and 5 cats. Because it doesn't smell like an animal. It doesn't smell rancid. It doesn't smell nasty. Because we keep up on it. Dishes don't sit. Laundry doesn't sit. The cat boxes are scooped every 2 to 3 days, every 2 or every 3 days, depending on how bad they get. And the litter boxes are changed and deep cleaned every 2 weeks. Anytime that the cats vomit or pee or poop anywhere that's not the litter box, it's immediately cleaned up, and the spot where they nailed is disinfected. Bedding is changed once a week. The cleaning it's kept up on. And for her to make that comment, yeah, I'm very much offended, because I don't have to deep clean your house like I've been doing, but I do it because I know that you're immunocompromised. My daughter is also immunocompromised. Not to the extent that she's immunocompromised, but she is. And if you don't deep clean like that every week, or at least minimum once a month, you're going to end up continually getting sick. Part of the reason why it took you 5 years to catch COVID is because of the way that you deep clean your house and the precautions that you were taking. We're making it so that when we leave here in 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks, I did the math today, you don't have to worry about deep cleaning your house for a while. The only thing that we have to do before we leave the house, is once we get all of our stuff out, we just got to put your coffee table back into the living room, and we got to bring in your one plant from outside. But that's it. So for you to sit there and say that you need to hire somebody to come in and deep clean your house after we leave, thanks for offending me. I took it upon myself to start this. It's because of me that this friend knows how to deep clean, knows what is entailed in deep cleaning, because excuse me, because in her mind, all you have to do to clean something is just surface clean it. And no. So, yeah, excuse me, but I'm just offended, and it took everything in me to not rip into her because of what she said and how she said it. Like I said, she's just, when she does things like that, the comments like that she makes, it's just more ammunition and fuel to the fire of the proverbial ass chewing that she is going to get when we leave. So, alright guys, well, I'm going to end this video here. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks so much for putting up with me and all my venting videos. I love you. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.